The Integrity Ignite Series makes a return trip to Tochigi. Welcome back to the Twin Ring Motegi. Last summer, we saw this track for the very first time in Integrity competition. 100 laps of caution-free racing we saw then. There's a chance we get a very similar result tonight. 30 drivers registered for qualifying in tonight's event. Welcome back. This is our final race before first break of the 2024 campaign. You're watching the Monday Night Tour, the Integrity Ignite Series, live exclusively on FTN. Welcoming you back to Tochigi, Japan, where the most exciting tracks on the schedule, a mile-and-a-half circuit unlike any other, and it's great to be overseas once again. I'm David Kreutz, your host for tonight's broadcast. I'll be producing and commentating all of tonight's racing as we kick off another fantastic week of FTN action. As it stands, Rob Ackley is going to be on the provisional pole by 59 one-thousandths of a second. Matthew Thunhorse to be second, and Joe Dinsmore in third. They expect our veterans of this series to have a major advantage tonight, as almost every one of those who has been in this series for more than half a year has seen this track in its one and only appearance. So it's going to be Ackley down at the bottom of the track. He's on the top of the board. Now at the line, it's going to be Matthew Thunhorse, and it's a wide circuit, mile and a half, very similar length to those of the traditional American circuits. However, it drives much differently, and overall it's a slightly longer circuit in terms of time. Joe Dinsmore comes across the line. That's going to move him up into fifth on the board. Nick Tarbuck is going to be sixth, and Blake Gordon is now eighth, as 24 drivers have taken a lap, now waiting on Braxton DeWeese and Jacob Fife. Rob Ackley firmly up there for the time being. You'll see a few drivers come in with their laps. Vinny Tigner up into eighth. Blake Gordon going to be in ninth. Nick Tarbuck is going to be sixth, just behind Joe Dinsmore. And now Braxton gets on the move, and the Allen's Art Images, number 13. 25 drivers have taken the time. 27 have gotten on the track, including Braxton and Gael Brooks. It looks like Braxton not happy with that lap. He will back it down and go to pit road once again. Gael Brooks is going to remain on the circuit. One podium so far this season for Gael Brooks. A second place finish. Looking to go one spot further. Maybe there's an opportunity tonight as he goes overseas. We've seen a lot of success internationally from Gael Brooks. Remember, last year it was Monza podium finish on some very, very well thought out strategy. It was a strategy call only 3 drivers committed to. Brooks, one of the 3, he got himself a podium as a result when we headed down to Italy. Now Ryan Potter's also on the track. We're only waiting on Brad Patton and Stephen Wetton. Brooks up to 22nd on that first lap. Jacob Fife ends his qualifying run and moves into 12th. So as such, Brooks has an opportunity to gain. So does Cody Smith. Smith is up into 26th, and he'll come across the line this time through. Looks like not much else he can do. He's already out of timed laps. He's taken his 2. He just concluded his 4th consecutive lap on the track. Braxton DeWeese is going to be back on the way. You ride on board with the number 13. You'll see exactly what it's like from the hood camera here. And it is a track much different from all other intermediate circuits. When it comes to length, it might be the same. To see if these drivers are pulling it in much differently, it almost looks like a bigger New Hampshire. More banking, a lot more racing room, and you have to keep in mind those braking points are going to be at the top of the track. Rather, of course, for these drivers, looking at the top of their windshield, Braxton Deweese goes up to 5th, and he's going to jump in the top 5 with 5 seconds remaining. Deweese, the last surprise. Qualifying has concluded, and it's official. Rob Ackley at the top of the board. That's very important for Rob Ackley. This is a very heavy track when it comes to position. Qualifying will mean an awful lot for these drivers, and right now, nobody going to be on the track, so we're staring at a wall. With that being said, let's take a look at your starting grid as we once again look at the track here, given the opportunity, and go from top to bottom in your starting grid to figure out who starts where. Without further ado, this is the lineup for the Twin Ring 100. The Integrity Ignite Series heads again to Japan, and tonight, Rob Ackley at the top of the board. He's got the pole position with a 36.292. Then from there, Matthew Thunhorse is going to be in second, about a tenth of a second off. He is with a 36.351. 36.551, and third spot is going to be Chuck Sweeting with a 36.366. Don Stevenson is going to be in fourth with a 36.383, and Braxton DeWeese, one of our title contenders, he's going to be there fifth spot with Joe Dinsmore, highest qualifying run of his campaign so far, sixth, 36.407. Nick Tarbuck is going to be in seventh with Kyle Cooper, then in eighth, Vinny Tigner in ninth, and Blake Gordon is going to be then in the 10th spot. The final driver in the top 10, it's Gordon, the 19 machine. Then you move on to 11th, it'll be Timothy Johnston and Chad Mikas. Mikas having a very quietly consistent season so far. He's up in the top 5 of the championship standings. Watch out for him to climb again tonight. Jacob Fife is going to be 13th. Cody Erdman is going to be 14th spot with Alan Dobbs 15th, DJ Stagner 16th, and then Sebastian Miller in the 17th position. Boomer Logan 18th spot. Travis McQuistion is going to be in 19th, and Brian McFerrin will round out the top 20 with Thomas Bressi 21st, Tim Rogers 22nd, Gael Brooks 23rd, and Forrest Smith 24th. Cody Griffin going to have a new number tonight, 25th spot for that number 03 team, and Ryan Potter 26th, 36.756 for him. Brandon Bernhardt 3/1000ths of a second behind, and it's going to be Cody Smith with a final time taken, 37.255. Smith had some troubles here last season. Looks like that will persist again here tonight. Brad Patton going to be starting in 30th, and it'll be then Stephen Wetton in 31st. One driver we're omitting looks to be, we'll take a look if it's going to be Cal Filarski, but it looks like it might be him. It looks like no. It's Trevor Trago omitted in our starting grid. He'll be newly registered. Filarski registered in 31st, and Trevor Trago, not on your screen, just joined the session. He will be 32nd and last of the field. It's going to be 16 rows of drivers in the Twin Ring 100. Drago gonna just join, it appears, and that is the case. Same goes for Cal Filarski. So 2 late registrations are gonna change up the back half of the field just a bit. DJ Stagner on the track, and he was the quickest driver that time by. A little bit of smoke, but it's not like Nashville. This is gonna be a temporary portion of the night. Partly cloudy skies, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and an 81-degree track temperature. So overall, very mild track temperature, slightly warming up, and winds are northbound at 3 miles an hour. So really nothing to worry about for these drivers as we're going to take a look at our forecast. No precipitation on the horizon. Looking at Joe Dinsmore right now, who's gotten a few good qualifying runs as of recent. I believe now all going to be his second top 10 qualifying start of the year. However, he's gotten them quite recently, so I think for the number 95 team, which made the playoffs in the inaugural season, maybe an opportunity to show that there is some consistency in this 95 team, which can help them out over the course of the long run. Michael Stroll, Alan Dart Images, and Chris DeWeese, thank you all for stopping by. Great to have you here. DIR got a multitude of drivers. Braxton DeWeese starting up in 5th. And when it comes to the Domination Intimidation Racing crew, well, they've got the pole position. No better spot to be than that tonight. I think that's going to be the course place to be from start to finish. A big track position circuit, especially how it played out all of last season. Watch out for these 100 laps. I think it's going to be all about the first stint. That's going to tell the tale. Then we'll get things going for the rest of the night and see whether or not anyone else can figure it out. Although Rob Ackley in a great position. I'd have to say, if you're looking at another driver besides Ackley, Thunhorst and Chuck Sweeting, who are second and third, are great options. Don Stevenson, wouldn't count him out either. He came oh so close to winning at Bristol in the Octane Series. It was a last lap pass put on by Ethan Lane. That's what denied him. Wasn't able to get it done. Maybe on Mondays he'll be able to do so. Cody Griffin for a long drift, and no contact. He was able to keep it down and in. That was about the entirety of 3 and 4. Griffin makes it through. How about that to end our practice session? DJ Stagner, the fastest man. And right now, it's going to be DJ down on pit road, the quickest driver in your warm-up. Practice has concluded. Qualifying has been decided. Now time to move on to the main event in Tochigi. Now, as drivers get onto the starting grid for the first time tonight, you can see them all there, the iRacing official pace car and its company. It's going to be pit road where everyone lines up Ackley and Thunhorst, veterans who have been here since the very beginning of the Ignite Series. Rob Ackley, the first ever winner in this series in February of 2023, and as it stands, he's going to be one of the drivers to definitely look out for. Matthew Thunhorst right there with them. Looks like iRacing had a bit of a blink out there. We're checking our connection. We look to be fine. However, we've been hearing intermittent reports of slight server troubles as the night's gone on, so keep an eye out for that. Our signal looks to be good. Maybe iRacing having a little more difficulty than we'd expect. We're checking their servers too. Doesn't seem to be anything major, but it's been back and forth. Took us a little bit of time to connect in the session too, so we'll watch out for that. That blink shouldn't be anything ordinary for the remainder of the night, but we are seeing iRacing not as clean as today's. A few drivers having some trouble registering, but we should be good to go all throughout. The pace car up in front, Ackley and Thunhorst, they're going to be first and second. That's our technology report for the night. That's the forecast in the virtual landscape. Looks like the weather on track is good, and pit road due to be empty. As everyone makes their way out of pit road for the first time, Rob Ackley in the number 22 at the top of the board. First ever winner in this series. Hasn't gotten a win so far in 2024. However, for a multi-time winner, I think there's a big opportunity tonight to break out and break through. As it stands, of course, having that front row for he and Thunhorst, it's a huge advantage. And I think right now, you just got to capitalize on the early run. Mitch in the chat, thank you for stopping by. Great to have you here. And for Ackley, if he can run away on this opening stint, it's not necessarily game, set, and match, but that will go a long way in potentially guaranteeing a race victory. We saw 100 laps here last year. It was a race that came and went without many incidents, and now a field of 32 registered are set to take the green flag. iRacing official pace car will drop down into this time through. Ackley on the pole position will lead the field to green in Japan. Welcome to the Twin Ring 100. We're back to green in Tochigi. Ackley gets there first. He's going to lead lap number 1 on the day, and as such, he's ahead now of Thunhorst, Sweeting, Stevenson, and company. Very minor shuffles inside the top 10. Very minor shuffles throughout the field. Movers, not many of them, but we're going to keep our eyes on who's got the speed to make moves and try to take some spots. Thomas Bressi looks to be the biggest mover so far tonight. He's gained 3 spots already, and we've got onboard access with the driver, the number 24. If you take a look at the bottom right of your screen, we're queuing it up right now. Exclusively on FTN, we've got this VR perspective from Thomas Bressi, and you're seeing now on the bottom right of your screen exactly what he's seeing inside of the headset. Now for Bressi, you can see him coming right up to the middle groove, slightly moving his headset back and forth to look at what's beside him. You'll see with the windshield net blocking, there's not much of view of Sebastian Miller. However, he'll get by Miller and now sets himself up to go for Alan Dobbs. Not going to be an easy pass here. The runs are sort of stagnated as these races go on. You see a lot of drivers lying back and forth. Going to be a very strategic night. Brian McFerrin coming right under Sebastian Miller. Bressi stays ahead of the number 83, behind the number 77. And that's a little look on board with our onboard technology here. We thank Thomas Bressi again for coming on board and giving us the insider access of what it's like to be a driver in the Integrity Ignite Series. Up in front, Ackley's got the lead. Not much exciting going on for your front runner. However, rest of the pack, maybe a little bit closer. We'll see whether or not they can get up to something good. Cody Erdman going to be side by side now. He is with Jacob Fife. Erdman up top. Down to the bottom side, you're going to see Fife is still there, lunging in once again, and he's got Alan Dobbs with them. Maybe even going to bring Thomas Bressi to come across the line for lap number 5. So far, 32 drivers are on the circuit. Forrest Smith missed the start and started on pit road, and we'll see whether or not that works out for the 15 crew. However, now 21 seconds back on your leader. Going to have to keep that pace up and be a little quicker to get back to drivers naturally before our pit cycle comes and goes. Now DJ Stagner going to be in 16th, exactly where he started in the Raging Cajun, number 64. Thomas Bressi up to 17th from 21st, and a few other movers throughout the field, 12th to 10th. Chad Mikas slightly making a few positions up. Not anything major here, but the 25, as we mentioned, looking for every spot in what's been his most successful start to a season in his Night Series career. Right now, you see that number 25 working just behind Blake Gordon, and Gordon working now with Joe Dinsmore. And Dinsmore going to lose 2 spots, however, not going to really lose all too much, as he's got both drivers who passed him just ahead. You'll see Kyle Cooper and you'll see Nick Tarbuck, who started 7th and 8th respectively. They both made 1 position up on Joe Dinsmore, and as such, they're sitting spots higher. And made it through. Another driver indeed. So the 95 of Dinsmore going to lie back a bit further, and now it's going to be Blake Gordon and Chad Mikas going through. Dinsmore not as good as we expected to see in the early going, maybe saving up his equipment, which is valid here given how long these runs are and how lonely it can get. Your equipment might end up being shredded if you chase others too hard. And now Dinsmore perhaps thinking ahead, or maybe just doesn't have it. Side by side, looks like a little bit of a back and forth motion. Dinsmore stays top. Chad Mikas right down low at the line. Looks like a minor advantage to Mikas. He'll have a chance to send it low into 1. Chad Mikas makes do. Look back and you'll see Boomer Logan now going to be with Cody Griffin and Travis McQuistion. Looks like the National Guard machine pulls through on Griffin, making a pass, and Logan has to get a few spots back. Started in 18th tonight, down to 22nd. So not moving upward just yet. However, of course, the early going doesn't mean it's all said and done. Cody Griffin, who started in 25th, has made up 2 spots already. However, another big mover right behind is Brad Patton. Patton's had quite a few good runs where he has come from the tail end of the field. Now tonight in Tochigi, that's going to be a whole nother animal, because we've seen no driver really have that success in a long green flag run. However, if anyone's going to do it, I mean, maybe Brad Patton's the best driver to try it out, given his previous success from the back of the field all the way up. We've seen him come from past the top 25, from even past the top 30 at times. Very few drivers in this field have done so. Matthew Thunhorst with the most extreme example, from 37th up to 3rd at Fontana. It can be done. It just takes a driver who absolutely has the willpower to make it happen. Thomas Bressi now looking down to the inside on Alan Dobbs. This would be for 15th. And Dobbs going to stay top. Now Thomas Bressi right down low. Going to stay side by side and coming across the line again. Maybe going to be Bressi behind, but he's definitely showing he's got the speed to at least knock on the door. We'll see whether or not he gets the answer he wants. Now Alan Dobbs goes down to the bottom side, trying to keep that door shut, but Thomas Bressi still there, has an opportunity to get that run off the corner and maybe catch up to Cody Erdman. Erdman going to be passed. That's going to move the number 26 back into 15th. Now Thomas Bressi with room for 1 more. Looks to the middle side. DJ Stagner looks even lower. And the door is shut twice over. Stagner getting it shut by Bressi, and then Erdman getting it slammed on the number 24. So now they come down the back straight all over again. Up in front, leaders have gotten away by a few tenths. You look further back, still going to be Bressi working here with Erdman. Cody goes high, and he's going to send himself right up the track. That's going to lose him 1, 2, maybe 3 positions. And that's one of those moments where, even though it doesn't look all too major, it's going to cost you a lot here in Japan. And it's going to be all the way up to the tie side. Cody Erdman now in 17th as a result. Bressi up inside the top 15. Stagner not too far behind, of course. However, for Cody Erdman, that's about the worst way it could have gone. Not going to be a good look for that number 26 team, as they're going to try to recover and pull themselves back in for the remainder of the night. Of course, early going, so it doesn't mean everything's been given away. However, maybe a few more opportunities down the road before our first pit stop cycle. Those are the ones you got to look out for. It could be a one-stop strategy tonight or a two-stop strategy. We'll see whether or not anyone has the ability to run it down to lap number 50, or if we see drivers come in about lap 40 or 45, and we see a bit of a split strategy from there on out for the rest of the race. Those are the most likely strategy paths for tonight. So look out for drivers who go for the two-stop strategy, and especially look out for who's going to try and make the one-stopper work. It is possible. I don't know how likely it is. However, if you really want to lock yourself in for a good chance, I think that's going to be the way to go. One-stopper, 50-50 split. So keep your eyes peeled for who's going to try to do that. We'll be watching as well, and we'll keep you updated all throughout the race. Up in front, you're seeing right now, there's Nick Tarbuck with Braxton DeWeese all running up in front with one another. There's a side-by-side battle now. Cody Erdman going down to the bottom side. You can see the 64 machine going to run up top. And that Chevy Camaro trying to get a good run off of the exit. The Raging Cajun trying something here, and it looks like he's got himself nice room to maybe get that run going on the middle side, which we haven't seen all too much of to this point. See them all coming across the corner, and when you look through when they enter the corners, it's a much different entry style for most drivers. Take a look up top. You'll see the drivers who come in. DJ Stagner staying on the middle side. Brian McFerrin a little bit lower, but Ackley, Funhorst, Don Stevenson, and the like, they're all going all the way down low. So if you want to figure out exactly what the leaders are doing, here's a look from our eye in the sky, courtesy of TrackCams22.com. Low and deep, there's where Ackley goes, and he takes them all down and in. You have to look back to DJ Stagner for the first driver trying to do something differently, and it goes to show nobody else really trying to lay that rubber in right now. That's what makes it so hard, because it might be that Stagner has the speed. He stayed there with Erdman. Very few drivers have been able to do so on that higher side. However, if there's no rubber laid in, really not much else you can do. Brian McFerrin must be loving this as he tries that middle side, now goes down into the grippier bottom lane, and he's going to gain quite a lot on Stagner in just that one stint. And you can see from turn 1 to turn 2, DJ going to lose about 0.3 of a second, and Brian McFerrin, without a shadow of a doubt, he is there. Now we're watching our boy Brian McFerrin to see what in particular he will do in this coming lap. There's an opportunity presented in front of him for DJ Stagner, but we'll see whether or not he has the speed to really pull it in. The braking warnings, of course, going to be in hundreds of feet for these drivers trying to figure out when they should start tapping the brakes, getting themselves set up for whatever is next. There have been previous races with stock cars at this circuit before, however, not in the oval configuration. In 1998, the Coca-Cola 500 took place at this circuit. Wasn't a 500-mile race, mind you, came out to just about, and we're going to look this up once again, 300-odd miles. We're going to figure that out. It was not on the oval circuit. However, it was on the road course at this facility, which crossed over where the current oval is as we speak. So, taking a look right now, the Twin Ring Motegi having one race here, 311 miles, 201 laps. It came out to approximately 500 kilometers. Now, the winner of that event, it came out to be Mike Skinner. Never had a Cup Series victory, however, Skinner, better known for his Truck Series exploits. Jeremy Mayfield was on the pole for that event. He still races on iRacing to this day, and broadcasted by Ken Squire, Buddy Baker, and Dick Berggren all those years ago. It's been over 25 years already. Twin Ring has never seen a stock car racing officially sanctioned ever since that day. However, if there are any candidates or suitors for NASCAR, I think the Twin Ring Motegi would be a great place to go. A little bit of a historical tangent about stock car racing. Japan originally meant to have a Daytona clone, which ended up being Fuji Speedway. They had a high banked corner akin to that of the Daytona front straightaway, and that ended up, of course, being completely reconfigured into what is now the current Fuji Speedway. That bank section no longer used. However, if you look back to older Grand Prix racing in the 1960s and 70s, and even sports car racing as well, that Daytona style turn was used for decades. Originally, NASCAR now set to have its own international Japanese tour considered NASCAR Nippon. However, funding never really came through on that project, and as such, oval racing in this area of the world hasn't really caught on. We've seen some exhibition events like, of course, Twin Ring Motegi's Coca-Cola 500. However, hasn't been anything too extreme here on iRacing, though. You get a really big opportunity to see what it would be like if these cars ever were to come back over into Japan. For Rod Ackley, he finds himself as a leader, 21 laps in out of 100. Matthew Thunor second, Don Stevenson third, and Chuck Sweeting is in fourth. Braxton DeWeese is going to be fifth, and Nick Tarbuck is in sixth. I'm sure these drivers not really wrapped up in the history of the track they're at. They're just trying to run their race. And so far, it's a very similar opening to what we saw last season, and we somewhat expected that to be the case. However, the question becomes, what is next? And looking on to the future of this race, you look further back right now, Thomas Bressi going to remain in 15th. He's been stagnant ever since his early jump. However, he's made up 6 spots already, so not at all a bad effort to this point. You can look further back and see a few other drivers who have gained, but Bressi going to go all the way down and in because Alan Dobbs makes some contact with the wall, and now it's going to be Bressi with some room down low. He's got Cody Erdman right there with him, and Erdman not going to hesitate to put the bumper to the number 24. Bressi's going to get a piece right there, and as such, side by side, Bressi gets by. There goes Dobbs right behind him, and a little bit of pressure not going to stop Thomas Bressi, and as such, he makes the pass. That puts him inside 14th firmly. Now you're going to see a few other drivers ahead like Vinny Tigner and Jacob Fife. This is the next pack in the field. We got 3 packs right now. Your leading group, your second pack, which goes down to Jacob Fife and Vinny Tigner. Then there's pack number 3. The rest of the field is going to be much more sorted out. 1 car to the wall. Joe Dinsmore, we got a caution. It's a big one. Bressi involved. In addition, you see there, it's going to be Gael Brooks, Cody Erdman. Yellow flag is out. Our first incident in Japan, and it's a big one. It takes out, of course, Bressi. As fast as he was, he's down and in. Smoke is billowing from the number 24. Caution is out. Started with Dinsmore. And let's see what happened here as Joe Dinsmore, among others involved. Caution is out. Let's get an instant replay and back it up to when this occurred. Caution's out. Joe Dinsmore going to be involved. One of the many, of course, who got himself in this one. So we'll see if it kicked off with some contact to the number 95. Did he get loose? It looks like Timothy Johnston right there, and Johnston going to make contact multiple times over. Dinsmore catches a piece, comes down and in, collects Bressi, Dobbs on the wall, Cody Erdman with Gael Brooks, and it's a minefield from there. Of course, it's going to be for some worse than others, and I think that's Bressi's night. That it is. We will unfortunately not have an in-car access any longer. Thomas Bressi, night is done already. Joe Dinsmore, Cody Erdman coming in quickly. Caution's out for the first time in Japan. Of course, we've gone 122 laps consecutive at this track without incident. That's our first here, and it looks like it's going to be our first caution of the race. Let's take it back live and figure out what's happening as pit road is busy. Rob Ackley going to come down and in. Strategy going to get active now as we come through the first quarter of this race. Let's figure out what happened here with a little bit of Goodyear rubber being put on. Now we'll see who comes out of pit road first. Ackley, who had, of course, that track position. He had the advantage, and he'll have the advantage once again. At the line, going to be Ackley, then Chuck Sweeting, then it looks like it's going to be Don Stevenson and Matthew Thunor. Thunor is going to lose 2 spots on the run out, and as such, he fades back to 4th with Braxton Dewey's 5th, Kyle Cooper 6th, Blake Gordon 7th, Timothy Johnston 8th, Vinny Tigner looks to be in 9th now, and Jacob Fife rounds out the top 10. So a quarter of the way through, and we have our first caution in Japan in this series ever. First caution of the race, mind you, and it looks like a little bit of a different tone now as opposed to what we saw to begin in 2023. However, of course, a few different factors tonight, given the fact that I believe it's a slightly larger field, not to mention, of course, these cars do drive differently from when we came here previously. A lot of updates to the Xfinity package, and it all culminates in our first big incident in Japan. 1 lap to green this time by. We'll be ready to go. Ackley chooses the bottom. Chuck Sweeting gains 2 spots. Big deal for him. He's going to gain and get ahead of very fast cars in both Matthew Thunderst and Don Stevenson. Now he's up there on the high side. We'll see what he can do. It's an early reset. We have about 75 laps to go with strategy. All things considered, it's a one-stop race from here, just about no matter what, so we don't expect to see many other major shifts in how drivers approach the tire game. Now it's going to be every driver for themselves, without having to worry too much about how the rest of the race will go. 26 laps in out of 100. We have 75 laps remaining as we speak. When we return, 74 laps to go. We'll be on to lap number 27. Ackley going to be up ahead. Mitch, GG, Chris DeWeese, Alandar Images, Doug Middendorf, Michael Stroll. Thank you all for stopping by. We're just getting started. Now time to return to the racing in Japan. The Twin Ring Motegi gave us excitement last year, giving us a little bit more of a chaotic nature tonight. And we'll see how much more we can get as we return to the action once more. Rob Ackley, your pole sitter, remains in the lead. Chuck Sweeting gains 2, the biggest move inside the top 5 all night long. Let's get back at it once again. Green flag gonna fly. Restart number 1. Rob Ackley is on the move, but Sweeting looks to have him matched. Coming across the back straight here, it looks like it's going to be neck and neck for no longer. Rob Ackley gets away. Now it's going to be Chuck Sweeting in second, and a big move for Sweeting, still looking for his first career Ignite Series win, and he's been a silent driver so far with a caution out again, second time today, and it's another big incident. Brad Patton, looks like Ryan Potter involved. Let's take a look back and figure out what caused it here. As you see, Potter going to get away. Alan Dobbs going to be in the mix, and it looks like Trevor Trago, is going to be involved this time by. The Wanted Goons number 37 ends up in the incident. Here's the look back half a minute. Here is your second caution of the night. Logan into Potter, into Trago, and then Gael Brooks, not to mention Tim Rogers also in the back of the frame as well. And Trago ends up right by our camera here in the wall and gets going again. A little bit of scuffing overall, not as major an incident. However, caution's out nevertheless, and we are once again pacing 28 laps in out of 100. We are back under caution for the second time. And it was a caution-free race, now back-to-back yellows, so we return to the pacing once again. Rob Ackley, your leader. It's going to be Chuck Sweeting second, and Don Stevenson then in third. DeWeese, Cooper, that's fourth and fifth, and right now your biggest mover in the entire track appears to be the driver of the number 7. Brian McFerrin has made it up 9 positions from 20th up into 11th. It looks like drivers dispersing right now. We'll see if we get the signal to shorten the caution as everyone gets set up once again. Brian McFerrin from 20th up to 11th, the biggest mover so far of those still left in the field, except for one other driver looked a bit further back. Brad Patton, 29th up to 15th. He just got recalculated with a 14 position gain, and that's the new high on the circuit. Not at all going to be a bad effort so far for the driver of this 07. Brad Patton looking good so far to make it up in the midfield, and we mentioned it from the start, even though his qualifying not impressive, he's now got himself in a nice position to keep on going and still gain. I'll tell you this much, 29 laps in out of 100. We'll be right back with your lap 31 restart. We'll be coming to lap 32 when we get it, and we once again like to extend a special offer courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. For discounts of over 40% off memberships longer than 3 months, check out iRacing.com for more information about the world's leading online simulation product. Since 2008, iRacing, the leading online simulator, and we'll be right back after a brief message from our friends at iRacing. You're watching the Twin Ring 100 exclusively on FTN.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Returning now, 30 laps in out of 100. We're just about a lap and a half away from getting that green flag, and it's going to be Rob Ackley once again in control. Ackley, Sweeting, Stevenson, your top three. Pit road a little bit busier right now. Dobbs, Trago, and Wetton all went in as a trio, and they might be put one lap down in jeopardy of doing so as Rob Ackley and company cross the line again. One lap to green. Looks like a little bit more cloud cover on this restart than the previous ones, and we are set to go at lap 32. Second caution of the night live on FTN. We thank you for stopping by. We are less than 10 subscribers away from 1,500. Another milestone on this channel as we continue to grow the FTN community. And I'll tell you this much, if you enjoyed tonight's racing, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is immensely appreciated in helping us go even further with this network, and a lot of great drivers, of course, given the chance to have that spotlight. Tonight so far, Rob Ackley, he's been the man. Chuck Sweeting second, Don Stevenson third. I don't think you can count out anyone inside the top five. Maybe the biggest surprise in the top five right now is a driver who did start in the top 10, but we haven't mentioned him all too much. It is the number 73 of Kyle Cooper. And right now, he's up there in fifth. He's had a few silently good runs across both series. Nothing too exciting so far from his campaign. However, I think Kyle Cooper may be one to watch here if we continue to see the strategy go up into a loop. He's up there for a reason, and track position going to help him out further. One of the drivers often good with these short runs to keep himself in the mix, especially in a chaotic night. Time to get the green flag once again with Rob Ackley dropping the hammer, bringing us through and grabbing a gear again. Green flag's out for restart number 2. Ackley's on the move. Ackley across the stripe, gonna have the race lead again. Gonna be 2x2 as we get across this lap. Looks like largely clean. Chad Mikas now gonna go down to the inside line. It's the battle now for 11th with DJ Stagner. Furthermore, it's gonna be also Timothy Johnston fighting with Jacob Fife here. Fife down to the bottom side, Johnston up top, and they'll be side by side here as we're now coming up to our 1/3 point of this race with a little bit of beating and banging further on back. Nick Tarbuck, a driver who started up in front in 7th, now down to 14th, has the speed, but mired back in traffic. That's not going to be anything good for this crew at all. And the traffic being such a big deal, if you get caught back here, it's very, very challenging to make it all the way back up. Pit strategy really helped out a few of these drivers, and it hurt others, and you're starting to see the effects, positive and negative, across both sides. Now, Ackley, he stayed there in his qualifying position. Very few drivers have been able to do so right now. Matter of fact, as we go out through entire grid from top to bottom, only one other driver seems to be in the same position as they started. That is Sebastian Miller in 17th. Now, I would argue it's just about as hard to stay in a random spot as it is in first. With all the pressure for Rob Ackley, he's definitely had trouble maintaining it. However, he's got that clean air, and he's been up there since the beginning. Nobody else getting the clean air so far, but Chuck Sweeting once again looking right down low to the bottom side. He'll take it. wasn't able to get there once again. Don Stevenson going to be there in the third position. You can see that number 47 making the move. He stays on the back straightaway. Braxton Deweese fourth and Matthew Thunors fifth. Stevenson, we saw him in the first run, more so toward the latter half. He was gaining ever so slightly on Thunhorst and Rob Ackley. Now, Chuck Sweeting's in second, but it might be the same phenomenon this time over. And Braxton Deweese right there as well. Braxton making the move. He's gotten himself back inside the top five. And as such, he remains right behind Stevenson. Might put a little bit more pressure on that number 47. That, of course, remains to be seen. Chad Mikus right now going to be in ninth, just ahead of Vinny Signer. And these two drivers going to be battling each other, but the side-by-side fight is a little further back. Here's Cody Smith and Cody Griffin. The two Codys going at each other right now for position number 16. Looks like Griffin going to get the better of that battle for now, but he wiggles to the side, and that's going to help out Cody Smith. They'll be side-by-side again. Almost looked to be a surefire advantage for Griffin. Then he bobbled out of turn 4, and they stay side-by-side into the first two turns again. There's Sebastian Miller, the 83 machine, looking nicely behind. He's got the all-chrome Krispy Kreme machine. Chevy Camaro tonight running in 18th with Brandon Bernhardt, finishing up the top 20 alongside Travis McQuistion. As it stands, it looks like 28 drivers are on the track, 27 on the lead lap, going back to Stephen Wetton. So overall, despite the incident, a majority of the field is still running with us as we speak. So at least a good thing to have a majority of our company still driving alongside those who are up in front. Don Stevenson gets passed by Braxton Deweese, and up to the front of the field goes that number 13. The Allensart Images Ford Mustang moves inside the podium. And there's another move for the 13, now eagerly awaiting an opportunity with Chuck Sweeting, while Matthew Thunor stays right behind Stevenson and might have a chance to pounce at the same time. So far, it looks like Braxton Deweese able to maintain his position nicely. Same goes for Don Stevenson, even though he got bumped back just about a spot. Matthew Thunhorst has Kyle Cooper behind him too, and the top 10 overall going to be able to stay very, very stable. Brad Patton's going to try to get himself into 11th here. He's got to make it through Nick Tarbuck, though. Makes it quickly by Stagner to get inside the top dozen. Now the next step is to see what he can do with Nick Tarbuck and maybe even Vinny Tigner. Tigner remains in 10th as it stands, about a second and a half back. It's a single file train from top to bottom right now, and 40 laps in out of 100, that's the way they roll, with DJ sending it down and in once again, trying to make a pass, just can't find the room, and it'll slide up ever so slightly while Brad Patton gets the run down low. Patton 29th to 12th. I think right now he might be driver of the day, so to speak, if we're going by F1 terms. He has been able to make it up from the back end of the field all the way up into the upper midfield. And here, Twin Ring Motegi, perhaps the hardest oval on the entire schedule to make passes. There are only a very few that could come up very close. Maybe you could say Martinsville, naturally speaking. Perhaps Darlington as well. This is an unfounded track, though, however. You don't see it on the official schedules for these drivers. If they're visiting Twin Ring Motegi, for the majority of these guys, I think they're only visiting it once a year, and that's with this league in the Integrity Ignite series. So to have this ability to start pulling through and getting up through the field, even though you might not be the fastest driver overall, no qualifying time for Brad Patton. He's up to 12th from the very, very back end of the field, and maybe a chance to make up more positions. Impressive run so far. I expect to see even more as the night progresses. Blake Gordon now going to be in 7th with one man wiggling further back. That looked to be in the tail end of the field. Everyone stays together. We stay green. You look further back. Travis McQuistion going to be with a Brandon Bernhardt. The 81 of Bernhardt gets away once again. He's going to stay in 19th with Travis being 20th. And it looks like the one wiggle going to be a little bit of an anomaly. That was Ryan Potter, I believe, here. And even though Potter involved in one of our cautions, it looks like that damage largely resolved, and you'll see he's back on the way once again, riding on board with the 99 at Potter, and you'll see how it looks from the hood camera. Maybe a little bit of bending and warping on the right side, but nothing major, and he should be able to stay with the field as he is right now. Ryan Potter is running ahead of a few drivers who are in this pack as well, so keep that in mind. Not dead last despite his damage, and it looks like he's with a few drivers who were involved in previous incidents like Boomer Logan, like Trevor Trago, Tim Rogers, Gael Brooks. They're all hanging together quite nicely, given the fact, of course, they all saw one way or another some trouble previously, so it's impressive to see they're still with the pack. However, it looks like for Boomer Logan and Ryan Potter more than others, they've been able to hang on and keep with it. Kyle Cooper stays behind Matthew Thunhorst here. Looks like Don Stevenson makes his way back into third, decided to be a little bit more patient. He gets right back on the way. Stevenson finds himself now rounding out the podium. Chuck Sweeting going to be second. Rob Ackley going to be the man who leads the way here. At 44 laps in out of 100, he has been able to maintain it for almost every lap on the night. Joe Dinsmore just reconnected, so 21 laps down. Maybe Dinsmore has a little bit more in the tank than we expected. He just returned to our session. Maybe a chance he'll come back and putter around for a spot or two. However, the only position he can realistically gain is on Thomas Bresci, who was 29th at the line this time through. 45 laps in out of 100, coming very, very close to a full 100 laps, of course, when it's all said and done. We're getting down to that halfway marker. That's going to begin to decide the rest of the race. 75 odd laps to go, and it's going to be about 37 laps apiece on the stint. Where we started, it's been 20 laps on this run. It looks like now 21, 46 out of 100, the total lap count. Ackley down and into 1 and 2 again. You'll see further back a few other drivers trying things, but not a lot of results. Maybe DJ Stagner now going down and in on Brad Patton, trying to get by Patton and take a spot away from him. That's been a big challenge for every driver from top to bottom. Nobody really able to do it all too well. Maybe we'll find the first driver who can take a position away from that number 07. So far, he has been the driver to beat, but now Nick Tarbuck going to get lifted up high and maybe lose another spot to Patton. There's DJ Stagner going right up there with Tarbuck. Now going to go down low, help Brad with a little bit of that arrow push. He's going back and forth, DJ Stagner is, and we'll see what he can do here, as he's now going to play a very big role in this fight. If you were to ride on board with DJ Stagner, as we do, it's almost like he's pushing them back and forth right now, trying to figure out what the best line is. Now you can see there, Tarbuck gets away, so he clearly does appear to be the better line. However, for DJ Stagner, he had the opportunity to go high side or low, trying to balance out runs and find the right place to sneak in and make his move. So DJ's going to lie back a bit more, and he's going to end up in 13th again. Patton lies back in 12th. Looks like wasn't able to stick that spot on Nick Tarbuck, and as such, Tarbuck once again goes right behind the top 10. Now you got DJ Stagner, Chad Mikus, and Jacob Fife running with each other, and right now Fife is in 8th. He's made it up quite a bit from 13th, and DJ needing a bit of a rebound run, or no, that's Jacob Fife who needs one a little bit more. We mentioned Stagner previously. However, for Fife, one of his more struggling nights from top to bottom last week. Started outside the top 25, finished just barely within, and as such, a good top 10 night for Fife. Maybe even getting up inside the top 5 would be huge. Still looking for that very first Ignite Series victory, chasing the checkered flag for the first time here. He has 3 Octane Series wins, and as our league owner here since 2012, he knows what it takes to run with this field. He's seen it progress year after year, but the Ignite Series and the Octane Series as well, incredibly competitive. I think both series are even more competitive this season than they were the previous, so it's going to become even trickier for Fife. However, running good so far in that Pro Powder and Paint Chevrolet. Wouldn't put him past him. Maybe go for a little bit more as we come across the line for lap number 50. Rob Ackley set to lead the field to the halfway point this time by. This has been the night he's looked for all throughout the early portion of 2024. And if anyone was going to get a win in this season, one of the more predictable avenues, perhaps that pole position at the Twin Ring, making it all possible. So far, Rob Ackley has fulfilled the prophecy halfway through. However, there's still the more important halfway to go. Doesn't quite matter where you start. If you can't finish the job, really, if you were there for 99 laps, doesn't mean all too much if you can't collect the win. halfway down, halfway to go. There it is, the 50 lap to go signal. It's in the air, and drivers have made it past that first half. Joe Dinsmore, he disconnected, not after his first connection, and it looks like caution's out, so maybe a chance for a few other drivers to go multiple down. Cal Filarski, Trevor Trago in trouble. Yellow flags out at our halfway point, and we're going to check back on what just happened. Talking about another driver with damage, here's a few more that might have to head down to the shop for the rest of the night. Yellow flags out. Here's your instant replay. Let's check it again. Coming through this time around, you can see Cal Filarski with Trevor Trago. You can see here the 91 co-pilot machine up in front. As they came across the line, Cal Filarski slows down substantially. Now I gotta wonder, was something wrong with it inside the cockpit? It looks not much a brake check more than is perhaps some other troubles. And we're taking a look back now to find out what that was. Cal Filarski in the number 91. A sudden stop. Here's a look inside the cockpit. Filarski ends up backing off the gas. Trago ends up catching him, and that is the caution. Trevor Trago not happy over the driver comms, and as such, a little bit of a confusing incident because it seems like nothing else happened besides laying off the gas. And we will go back live. Trago, Filarski involved, and we are back looking at the leaders coming down on pit road. So what are the incidents we didn't quite expect to see? And we'll figure that out as the night goes on. Ackley, Sweeting, Stevenson, and company all coming down and in with 48 laps to go. Pit road is busy. And now time to figure out if Ackley can maintain that all-powerful advantage he's held. So far tonight, he's led just about every lap. Will he come out of pit road first? That remains to be seen. Gael Brooks takes the race lead. Ackley gets the rest of them out. Brooks from 23rd, he's now on top. And Thomas Bressi mentioning could have been a misshift there, missing the shift to 4th. If there's anything to happen mechanically, I think that's most likely. It looked like a misshift, but didn't really seem the same signs. It was an upshift that was missed. We don't often see it like that, but this oval does require shifting, so that's potential for what happened. Gael Brooks up to the race lead here in the twin ring, and now things have gotten a little bit more interesting. 48 laps to go. It's Brooks from Ackley, Don Stevenson 3rd, Chuck Sweeting 4th, Braxton Deweese 5th, and Matthew Thunhorst then in 6th. Kyle Cooper 7th, and Blake Gordon 8th, Jacob Fife 9th, and Chad Mikus rounding out the top 10. Cody Smith and Next Level Racing once again. Of course, the partner that brings all the coverage live on FTN. We thank them once again for their immense support, and we'll be right back after our first promotional break, courtesy of our friends at nextlevelracing.com for high-quality sim racing performance products. 2009. That's when they started, and they're still here today. A little bit of a jumble up in words, but it's very hard to describe the true excellence of Next Level Racing products without you checking them out yourself. The official premier partner of Next Level Racing, Integrity Racing League, and vice versa. We hope you check them out after tonight's broadcast at nextlevelracing.com, and we'll be right back after our first promotional message of the day. 47 laps to go live on FTN. We'll be right back after this message. 46 laps remaining. This time by, and it's going to be now in the hands of Rob Ackley. Looks like Kyle Brooks no longer the race leader, and it's once again the number 22 back on top. So the driver we've seen for the majority of the night in control once again has that advantage, and Brooks for a brief moment has his cameo up in front. He'll go down and in, and it looks like now going to be scored again in about 24th as we come across the stripe. One lap to green this time by, and Brooks, who has maintained his dominance as the leader, this time with the new challenger up top. It's Don Stevenson getting his chance. Previously, Chuck Sweeting. Before that, Matthew Thornhorst, a new driver trying to make it happen on the high side. We'll figure out whether or not Don Stevenson has what it takes, as he'll be up top to Rob Ackley's bottom. Coming through this time by, Ackley gets the jump big time on Don Stevenson. Restart number 3. Ackley back on the way. Second half of this one is on the move. Rob Ackley going to find himself up in front with Don Stevenson in second. It looks like not going to be as close right now for Stevenson as it was Chuck Sweeting, and Sweeting wants his second spot back. He'll go down to the inside immediately on Don Stevenson, looking to take that spot away. Hasn't made it easy so far. As it stands, you can see it looking low with Braxton Deweese. Neck and neck they'll be coming into turns 1 and 2. Looks like Sweeting not going to have the run he wanted to get to Stevenson immediately. He'll have to lie back as a result and give a little bit more time until he gets back to the driver in at 47. Further on back, Vinny Tigner side by side here with Brad Patton. Caution's out again. Let's take a look at what happened. McQuistion is destroyed, and the front end is all cut loose. Caution is out again. Here's an instant replay. Let's find out what caused it. Taking a look one more time, it's going to be Travis McQuistion involved here, and Potter wiggles up into 93, and down they go. Travis gets the worst of it. And a very unfortunate circumstance there for the 93, running solidly tonight within the top 15 for the majority of it, and as a result, a night taken away. McQuistion down on pit road. Ryan Potter, who was involved in one incident before, it looks like he is again, and he's down on pit road. The Holden Wieners, number 99, damage on the front side, and I don't know whether or not he'll be able to get back on the track for the remainder of the day. Can't expect that machine to be competitive for the remainder of the race as opposed to the way it was before the second wreck. 43 laps to go, a little bit of a stopgap in the action once again. Now we have 43 laps. If anything, we could go all the way on the stop these drivers have gotten to. However, in the case that we have another caution, I think it's going to be another one-stop strategy. We continue to slowly but surely add more cautions on the strategy as the race goes on, simply because there's been more cautions that go with them. So we could go all the way from here. That's how far we into this race, mind you. However, at the same time, this could become a 1 or 2 stop strategy depending on how clean we keep it on track. So that's all up to the will of the drivers here. So strategy can change. We'll see how it goes. If you enjoy the action with 42 laps to go, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support, greatly appreciated, and we're only getting started here. We've not only got the rest of this race to go, but tomorrow night, Integrity Ignite series, then the Octane series on Tuesdays. Always a fun series to watch with the Gen 4 stock cars. Many familiar drivers and some Tuesday night ringers. A lot of great drivers to watch overall, regardless of where we go. For the final race before our Easter break, we will be heading on to the Chicagoland Speedway, and that is going to be another exciting event. With that being said, 134 laps and 200 miles tomorrow night on FTN. Ackley going to lead him across the line once more. Pit road, few drivers coming down and in. Alan Dobbs just made it back on his way. Stephen Wetton, Travis McQuistion, and Ryan Potter alongside Cal Filarski all down and in on pit road. Filarski 9 laps down. McQuistion and Potter are 3 down. Stephen Wetton gets back on the way, and he's going to be about on the lead lap. Almost got put 1 down. However, quick enough to return with the leaders as we're set to go at it all over again. Should be going green to the end of lap number 61, so we'll have 59 laps remaining, or rather 39 laps remaining. We've already gotten through 59. We're on to our 60th, and Rob Ackley has led almost every lap from the pole position. He's been dominant so far tonight. Stevenson's in second. DeWeese is in third. 1, 2, 3 remains largely the same in the top 5. It's been a bit of a shuffle of all your drivers in the top 5 in qualifying. They're still in the top 5 in this race. Matthew Thunders from 2nd to 5th. Chuck Sweeting 3rd to 4th. 5th to 3rd for Braxton DeWeese. And 4th to 2nd for the driver in that number 47. That is Don Stevenson. So shuffles, not major. If you started in the top 5, you are still in the top 5 here. With that being said, now an opportunity to see if someone can knock Ackley off and change his position, which has been so hard to demote him from that top spot. He's been so consistent and quick, having that clean air as well. It's been all the advantages wrapped up to 1 for Ackley. Nobody able to get by. 1 lap to green this time by. We'll figure out if someone can do it. One lap to green, we've got the pace cars lights off again. It's going to be Ackley and Stevenson once more in control. And coming through this time by, you look back, Cal Filarski, McQuistion, Potter still on pit road. Stephen Wetton, the final man on the lead lap. No longer 27th, Wetton up into 24th. Michael Stroll mentioning something important. No repeat winner or halfway leader to start this season. This is the best race Rob Ackley's had so far, and Michael Stroll, he's saying it, and we're going to have to reiterate it. It'll be another brand new race winner for 2024 if Ackley were to win. And, of course, getting his first halfway bonus, he keeps the streak of parity up once again. We've seen so far a total of 6 races, and we've had 5 different winners so far. This could be our 6th if it is going to be either Ackley or Stevenson. Chance for the number 22 to break out and become the 6th consecutive winner. Nobody's been able to break into the crooked numbers so far. We'll find out whether or not Ackley can keep himself where he is or if someone else can try to go for it. Ackley's had control, and now with 39 laps to go, he's set to get us going once again. Green flags out all over. Back on the move. Ackley's got the jump. Rob Ackley gets away, going to be a bit more of a bundle as they come through with the pack here. Chuck Sweeting way high, gets a run to keep himself in it, and Blake Gordon now going to go down low in the tide ride. The number 19 goes way to the bottom. Kyle Cooper going to be with Chuck Sweeting side by side. You'll also see Jacob Fife working down low, and now going to be 2 by 2 all throughout, rushing down through the front straightaway. Ackley remains in control with 0.2 seconds of advantage, and then Braxton DeWeese makes his way up in a second. Braxton, who's been with the Ignite Series ever since its inaugural season, took the second season of 2023 off, has returned in a full-time capacity on both Monday and Tuesday nights, and now finds himself in second, running in the runner-up spot, just about the second best place to be. Matthew Thunders right behind him, coming in hot, and Blake Gordon now trying to move inside the top 5. He started in 10th. He's gained access to an elite club of drivers, and Stevenson to the wall. There goes Jacob Fife. He'll find himself to the bottom and make it by Stevenson as well. Don fading back, some momentum being lost there for the 47. Fife in 5th from 13th on the board. Blake Gordon, he's in 4th from 10th on the order. And now it's going to be a bit of a different top 5. Podium still comprised of those who have been elite all night long. Braxton DeWeese there in the number 13 machine finds himself oh so close to Rob Ackley still hasn't quite been able to make it out so far and get that pass. Take a look on board now with Deweese and see what it's like amid the fight for the lead. You'll see now Braxton Deweese running down the back straightaway, 0.2 of a second. The gap between he and Rob Ackley so far hasn't been able to make much else up. Looks like there's a little bit of a buffer in the air, which has kept them stunted behind the driver who leads the way. Vinny Tigner down and in now, and Kyle Cooper. This is the battle for 6th, and Vinny Tigner, one of the rookies really coming into his own, came into the night 16th in the point standings. However, his experience with these Xfinity cars really paying off as of late and putting in better run after better run makes it by. Chad Mike is now going to be right behind him. You can see he's got himself in the mix with the 73 Kyle Cooper, even now Vinny Tigner. So for Micus from 12th up, that is not really a major gaining day. However, it's enough to really show he's got what it takes to consistently compete. Motegi, one of the hardest tracks to pass, and yet he's going down for another to the bottom side. That is going to be Chad Micus looking right low on Kyle Cooper at the line. Not an advantage, but a chance to go deep into 1 and 2, which could mean all the difference. The bottom side, you can see him lying low. He just got through, makes a pass again. Now, with Chad Micus making that move, you also see Don Stevenson with DJ Stagner fighting for the final spots inside the top 10. Cody Griffin right there as well. And you can see for Griffin, he's going to get a little bit of bumper contact there with DJ Stagner. Pushes that number 64 in. However, all is well. Nothing else comes of it. Now you can see rushing down the back straightaway, Stevenson tries to get away on the bottom groove. DJ Stagner stays right there with them. And Cody Griffin, who's made it up from 25th to 11th, looking better than ever before. All of a sudden, the best spot he's been in all throughout the night. Rob Ackley, 69 laps in, holds a nice lead. You can look behind him and see what it's like from the rearview mirror. Ackley right now going to maintain that advantage here, but it looks like Braxton Deweese still in striking distance if anything were to go wrong. However, for Rob Ackley, I think right now he's just got to run his own race and keep with the pace he's had for, of course, the past 69 plus laps. We're on to our 70th after all, so if he can make it through here, he's gone 70% of the way in total control of this race, with the exception of very few blips where someone takes the lead. A pit cycle. Brad Patton now going down and in on Cody Griffin, your two biggest movers. Brad Patton coming from 29th and Cody Griffin from 25th. The two hardest chargers of the entire night are now side by side with one another, and you can see them there, 30 laps remaining. About the best spot they could possibly be in here as they come down the back straightaway again. It's been big gains. Qualifying might not be the be-all, end-all for both these drivers. Brad Patton's been more consistent about it. However, Cody Griffin making a late resurgence, which we didn't expect previously. All of a sudden, though, he's up there with 30 laps remaining. Now, we got a little bit of time, so we'll bring you your second Next Level Racing promotional break of the night. Since 2009, Next Level Racing has provided high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. We'll be right back after this brief message from our friends at Next Level Racing and return with less than 29 laps remaining in a Twin Ring 100. Returning now with 28 laps remaining, Rob Ackley finds himself at the front of the board, the leading man for the majority of this race, but now Braxton Luis right there with them, just about a tenth of a second as drivers come through. You can see the 13 right there down low. So far, but a good night for Domination Intimidation Racing, as it's going to be Michael Stroll in the chat room mentioning the team, and so far having a very good run with, of course, Rob Ackley, their flagship man, up in the front of the field. Then you see Chad Michaels, who's running currently in about 8th. There's Nick Tarbuck, who was in 12th, and for Boomer Logan, caught up on a few incidents, so unfortunately not the night he was hoping to have. He had a little bit better speed than what we saw prior to those incidents. Unfortunately, not going to really show it tonight, although we did see the pace for that 94 crew, which has been gradually getting much quicker ever since, of course, we first saw that team come out, and we've seen top 10 runs. Maybe tonight a little bit of a better opportunity to come through as the race went on. However, cautions, of course, incidents, and as such for Logan, going to be mired back in 22nd with some damage. He's still on the track, however. We're looking at Braxton Deweese right now, riding with Rob Ackley, your top two. Deweese has gotten close. Hasn't necessarily gotten there. However, he is getting closer than any other driver. Matthew Thunders, though, making a much better run as of recent to get back inside of the 3rd position. As it stands, you can see Thunders finds himself the final spot in the podium. Blake Gordon, of course, there with Jacob Fife and even Vinny Tigner here. Vinny, who finds himself now in 6th, slowly but surely making his way up as well, gradual gains. Some drivers not really having the big nights of making moves, much like Brad Patton or Cody Griffin and the like. However, it's still been challenging nonetheless to make those passes, even if it doesn't seem like they've made many. Every spot, you got to work for it here. Brad Patton now going to go down to the inside line on Chad Michaels. That puts Michaels back into 10th, and it's going to move Brad Patton up into the single digits here. So a little bit better there for Patton, and a little bit worse, just slightly, for Chad Michaels with 24 laps remaining. A move he needed to make to get another spot and put himself inside the single digits. Patton is there now, and with 77 laps on the books, DJ Stagner might just be the next target. You'll look further back, and you'll also see fighting Brian McFerrin with Cody Griffin. So Griffin slowly but surely maybe dropping back to where he was previously. And that number 7 machine dropping low, looking to get that nice run, should have it off the corner, but Kyle Cooper also gets there and helps Griffin, pulling himself through at the line again. 78 laps in and 23 laps to go. We'd like to thank our friends at TrackCams22.com for providing high-quality iRacing cameras for every FTN broadcast. We'll be back after we crank it up with 22 laps remaining. We hope you check out TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams after tonight's broadcast for over 100 car and track combinations of iRacing cameras, perfect for broadcasting, sim racing photography, and replays of all your favorite racing moments. Let's crank it up with 22 laps to go here in Japan, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. It's been Rob Ackley's night to lose. With 16 laps to go, he's gotten far out and away. You look at Braxton Deweese in second, and then Mr. Consistency and Matthew Thuggles again looking for a podium. We've talked to him almost every week this season. And once again, he's right there. Braxton Deweese, though, knows one thing. He's not going to settle for second unless he absolutely has to. Staying right behind that number 22 of Ackley. Hasn't quite gotten the move there just yet. However, for Ackley, he's had the best race of his season, and the caution will fly with now 15 laps to go. Kyle Cooper in trouble. One car incident, and we are once again pacing. Here's an instant replay. What just happened? And we'll take it back and figure out what caused this most recent incident indeed. And looking back, looks like it's going to be an incident. Of course, Kyle Cooper finding himself up in front, or rather, in the middle of the field. You see him ahead of Dobbs, Gael Brooks, and Boomer Logan. Had himself in the front of the pack here, but it looks like some contact with the wall. That's the first piece of it. Then there's Cody Griffin, and you look further back, Alan Dobbs comes through, 3 wide, and Kyle Cooper comes down and in with Dobbs. Dobbs sends him right back up, and as such, trouble, and it's going to be another caution for perhaps the final of the night. It's going to be a fast incident that brings us all the way back, and as such, Kyle Cooper is going to be 24th and going down a pit road. Now, we're looking back up in the front of the field. One thing we got to mention, Matthew Thuggles, he has been Mr. Consistency, no doubt. Now, 32nd at Daytona, then 3rd the week after, which happened to be at Auto Club, 3rd the Circuit of the Americas, 2nd at Nashville, and then a win at Kentucky last week. He has been dominant in terms of podiums week after week after week. Ever since Daytona, he's had everything on his side, and you see him now, 14 to go. I think we might be coming down a pit road. That we are. This could be the final wrench in the equation. Everyone's going to see the wrench thrown at him. Pit road gets busy. And once again, we got a cycle here. Let's figure out who comes out with the advantage. Ackley's held him off for so long. Will someone try to get risky? Maybe a 2-tire strategy, maybe less on fuel? Let's find out here. Let's see if track position is really all that and then some. Boomer Logan jumps up as the race lead, mind you, so he'll get back up there. Now it's going to be Rob Ackley to watch out for, and that number 22. One DIR car is going to lose the lead, only for the another to gain it, and Ackley is out clearly ahead, and he's got it. That's another fast moving now for Rob Ackley. Then you'll see Blake Gordon, Braxton Deweese, Cody Smith, Chad Mikas, and Matthew Thuggles all coming through together with 10 laps to go very soon. We're up to the final stretch, and when we come back to green, it might just be 10 laps to go. And Boomer Logan, Dobbs, Stephen Wetton, the only 3 drivers on an old set of rubber now, going for about 35 laps. We'll see what the game plan is here for these 3 drivers. Presumably, they'll be coming down and in with the next lap or so. However, that is not going to be a guarantee, as it's now going to be the National Guard, number 94, up in front. Logan, with the first opportunity he's been given to lead all night long. Will he come down to pit road? That he will. Alan Dobbs and Wetton choose not to, but Boomer Logan does go down and in. So now we got a little bit of a difference in strategy. It's going to be all up in the hands of Alan Dobbs and Stephen Wetton. Wetton multiple times over has tried the same strategy in the Octane series, and we've seen mixed results there. Now Wetton from 30th up to 2nd, and Alan Dobbs from 15th up to 1st. They've made it through. They've got the advantage, and they're up in front here in the Twin Ring 100. Now with 12 laps to go this time by, we have an opportunity to bring your final Next Level Racing promotional break under caution so you don't miss the rest of the green flag action. Next Level Racing provides high quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. We'll be back after this break. We'll have about 11 laps to go at that point. We'll come back to green with only 10 laps remaining, so stay tuned here. The final stretch is just ahead of us here on FTN. You're watching the Twin Ring 100, presented to you by Next Level Racing, the official premier partner of the Integrity Racing League. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned as we'll return after our final promotional message of the night. 11 laps to go and 1 lap to green. We'll be coming back with 10 laps remaining here in Japan. You're watching the Twin Ring 100, and it's going to be, for the first time all night long, not Rob Ackley leading us to the green flag. And I think everyone in the field might be a little more skeptical than ever before. It is now Alan Dobbs and Stephen Wetton. Those are your front row drivers. They have decided to stay out on the track, and as such, they find themselves up in the front of the field for the first time on an old set of Goodyear rubber, and we will see whether or not that is able to be sustained for a lap or two. Maybe it goes a little bit further, maybe it goes a little bit less. It's a risk. We'll see whether or not it's worth taking, and it's going to be the Nightfall Graphics number 77 going right up in front and taking the lead, taking the charge into our final 10-lap stint. Here we go again. It's going to be Dobbs at the helm, Stephen Wetton right beside him, and it's going to be the pace car down and in with, once again, Dobbs in control. Here we go again. Going to be Wetton on the high side and Dobbs down low. Old tires get the jump. Dobbs goes high and Braxton Deweese goes down low. Green flags out. Battle for the net lead as Dobbs gets away. Side by side between Deweese and Rob Ackley. Ackley's going to be able to clear Braxton and now go down to the inside on Alan Dobbs. The biggest threat to his lead all night long. Chad Mike is going to get loose. Does he save it? Yes, he does. He'll wiggle just a bit, but he'll keep it together. Now going to be Matthew Thurnost up on the high side, getting there with Alan Dobbs. It's going to be a minefield coming right off the back straightaway, and through the front, it stays the same. But Ackley gets the jump again. 9 laps to go. He will not be denied easily, and Matthew Thurnost looking for what could be his 5th consecutive podium, banging doors with Blake Gordon. The 19 machine gets pushed up top, and Thurnost looking to keep the most successful streak in all of the Integrity Racing League alive. He'll stay down low, and he's looking to extend his points lead with Chad Mikas right there behind him. This would be substantial for Matthew Thurnost. 5 consecutive races with an average finish of about 2.33. And he gets this one done. Now it's going to be Rob Ackley and Matthew Thurnost at first and third. Braxton Deweese inside the podium sandwich, and he'd love to be the man who's on top of it at the end of the night. 8 laps remaining. Deweese, he's still very, very close, but close ain't enough when you want that win. Coming down the back straight all over again. 8 laps remaining. The Allen Dart images number 13 stayed right there on the back straight. And you can see, almost going to give a little bit of a nudge there to Ackley, but can't quite get through. Now going to be 7 laps to go. Coming down the back stretch, it's going to be Ackley in control. Take a look from the back bumper, and you'll see how close they're cutting it into 1 and 2. There goes Braxton Deweese. He looks down to the bottom side. He's going to have an opportunity to lunge deep and keep it there. Can Ackley get the run off the corner? It looks like he can. He'll pull right out ahead. That's going to be a 1/10 of a second gained right back. Braxton trying, but Ackley finding that defense would prove to be oh so critical as they come down the back straight once again. For Rob Ackley, this race has been like clockwork. It's a huge incident. That's going to be a caution, presumably. Yes, it is. We are now going to go into green-white checker territory. Gael Brooks, Brian McFerrin, DJ Stagner. Yellow flag is out. We are now going to end up in overtime. Take a look back and find out what caused it here. This is presumably the final caution of the night, no matter what happens, unless we get even crazier on our next restart. Watch out here. It's going to involve DJ Stagner, Brian McFerrin, and Gael Brooks, and we'll take a look overhead to figure out what just caused it. And Stagner going to be behind Brian McFerrin as it happens, so it starts with the number 7, and it looks like Cody Griffin. A little bit of nudge twice over, and he gives the tap to McFerrin. That catches a piece on Gael Brooks, and DJ Stagner sends Stagner up, Brooks down, and that's the caution. Very close call there for a few drivers like Cooper and Wetton. Luckily, no major contact, and now we are in the home stretch, and this is it. Green-white checker territory. Time to go into iRacing overtime. Bringing out an extra set of the rule book tonight, we are going to be heading into green, white, checkered racing here in the Integrity Ignite series. So, for those who don't know, let's just break it down quickly and figure out exactly what we're looking at here. When we go back green, we'll have 2 laps to go at the very most, and if we don't have 2 laps to go naturally, we will extend the race as long as necessary. Now, if this is a natural green, white, checkered, meaning we do not push the race past the 100 lap scheduled distance, we still have 3 more overtime attempts waiting in our back pocket. If we extend this race artificially at all, that will send us into our first true overtime and give us 2 more attempts to get the race going. So we have a maximum of 2 or 3 cautions remaining. When we get to that final caution, if we do, very unlikely, that will end the race no matter what flag comes out next. Now, on the green flag run that we have, when we get the white flag, the race is official. You cannot wave the caution under the white flag. The race will end, checkers or wreckers. White flag will mean the race is official, and we will go until the winner crosses the checkered flag. Now, however, there is an opportunity, of course, to go to the yellow flag. If we go before the 1 lap to go signal, we will once again return and pace again for up to 3 attempts if this stays natural, and we will stay for up to 2 attempts. This is our first true overtime of the night. So maybe an opportunity for these drivers to figure something out and change up their ways. I know for Rob Ackley, he has been up there mechanically doing this back and forth, more consistent than any other driver. Braxton DeWeese, Matthew Thunhorst, Blake Gordon, all looking for opportunity. DeWeese looking for his first career Ignite Series win. Much like Ackley's looking for his first of the season, Matthew Thunhorst looking to go back-to-back and break up the parity. Blake Gordon, he's looking for redemption from Nashville. The final turn of that race, he was the leader, stuck it high, ended his night on a sour note. Maybe tonight a chance to redeem and put himself back on top. We will be going into artificial green-white checkered territory. This will be your first overtime attempt. The race will be extended to lap 101, so we will be headed into our first overtime. So we have 2 more cautions after this at the very most. If we get the white flag, the race is official, and that will be it. It all hinges on whether upon we get that white flag or if we don't, and we go for another attempt with a caution. So everything now really comes down to the mercy of the field. And we'll see whether or not it's going to be a merciful field at all, because those cautions sometimes have stacked up to be back-to-back. Other times we've gotten some long green flag runs. The distance we've gotten in, substantial. Good enough to get us to the very end of this one on a longer pathway with those better runs, with more natural strategy. And we're here now at the tail end. Double file, we'll set ourselves up once again. This will be our first overtime attempt of the night and our first green-white checkered by proxy. We'll be extending this race to lap 101 for what will be a 2-lap shootout. Green, white, checkered. Get ready. We are now going to be 1 lap to green here, and it's going to be 101 laps. We will go green at lap 100. Rob Ackley down low. Braxton DeWeese right up high. This is it, the moment we've all been waiting for, the fight to the finish. Ackley, who's been oh so dominant tonight, will he finish it off? Will he get the win, which looked to be his for oh so long? Or will there be an upset tonight, as there still could be? The way Blake Gordon was upset in Nashville, it could be the same way Rob Ackley finds himself at the end of the night. Unlikely, but with Braxton DeWeese pushing and so many other drivers trying as well, there's always a chance until the checkered flag falls. The roar of 23 engines on the track, now actually up to 25. Only driver off of it who's still registered is DJ Stagner. Majority of the field still with us here, and they have come to the home stretch to watch the most exciting portion of this race. 3 miles to go this time by with Rob Ackley down and low. He needs the best restart of his night here and now. Grab a gear once again. We are into iRacing overtime. Ackley with a jump up in front. He's got the lead with 2 laps remaining. And for Rob Ackley, that's exactly the run he needed off the corner. He's got himself a lead with a lap and a half to go. Braxton Deweese down to the inside line no longer. Matthew Thor's cuts under, and they'll be side by side. Chad Mikas right there as well. Gonna be beating and banging for second, but Rob Ackley's got the lead with 1 lap to go. White flag's out, no chance to call the caution now. 1 driver the wall, that's Patton. Nobody else gets involved, and Ackley's got the lead by a 10th. Now Matthew Thor's gonna wiggle. Braxton Deweese right up top. Chad Mikas looking, he slides in, gets through. Deweese now gets bumped again. Ackley's out in front. It looks like now for Rob Ackley, little he can do but coast through the final 2 turns. He's led from the jump, got the all-important pole position and track position from start to finish on the track to pit road. Carried him quite a long way, and tonight Ackley will break the winless drought. The number 22 is your 6th winner this season. Rob Ackley wins from Japan. Thunhorse gets his 5th consecutive podium. Chad Mikas rounds out the top 3 with his 2nd podium of the campaign. Ackley dominant, unstoppable, and he comes out with a win he knew he had from the start. And now Ackley gonna make his way through down to the front straightaway, the number 22 machine, celebrating a victory he knew of all opportunities, the pole position would make the difference, and the clean air carried him through all night long. Rob Ackley will burn down the house in Tochigi. Ackley gets it through, gets it done, and wins in Japan. How about that performance for Rob Ackley? We're going to bring back the tape and get you your race results for tonight's event. Ackley will win by 0.2 of a second over Matthew Thunhorse. Then in the 2nd spot, 3rd going to be Chad Mikas with Braxton Deweese 4th, Vinny Tigner in 5th, and Nick Tarbuck in the 6th spot, Jacob 5 7th, Blake Gordon 8th, and Don Stevenson position number 9. 10th spot is then going to be Timothy Johnston with 11th, then and there being Cody Griffin. 12th is Chuck Sweeting, 13th is Cody Smith, and Sebastian Miller is going to be 14th. Brad Patton is the 15th spot, and Tim Rogers is 16th with Brandon Bernhardt 17th, 18th to Alan Dobbs, and Gael Brooks 19th with Boomer Logan rounding out the top 20. 21st is going to be Ryan McFerrin with Kyle Cooper 22nd and Stephen Wetton 23rd. It's DJ Stagner 24th with Ryan Potter 25th and Cal Fularski 26th. Travis McQuistion is 27th with Trevor Trago 28th, Cody Erdman 29th, and Joe Dinsmore 30th with 31st Thomas Bresci and Forrest Smith 32nd and last. Rob Ackley was in a world of his own tonight, and Domination Intimidation Racing comes through with a winner and a 3rd place finisher. They are going to be the podium sandwich tonight with Matthew Thunhorse, who seems to be a perennial top 3 finisher, right in between. First, of course, we'll get your race winner who dominated from the jump, pole position, most laps led. Rob Ackley, you got it done and won from the twin ring Motegi. And it looks like from the very beginning you had the car to beat and nobody could stop you.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. Trying to do everything we could just to keep it out front all night long, but especially near the end, a few of those guys are pretty quick. Braxton and Thunhorse, the usual guys being up front every week. You know they're going to put pressure on you, but somehow we were able to hold them off.
And it looks like tonight, able to hold them all off from the very beginning. We know how important track position he is every time we visit this track, and tonight, that pole position we feel must have done wonders for this team. What was it like, of course, having the track position from the very beginning?
Yeah, getting the pole definitely was the key to my race. Every week, pretty much. If you qualify mid-pack, you're kind of stuck there for a while. So further towards the front you can qualify, the better off you are.
Looks like that's exactly how tonight's race played out. However, overtime finish. With all being said, we saw long green flag runs, a few cautions sprinkled in between, but I don't think anyone expected it to go down to a 2-lap shootout. So what was it like with that pressure as we saw multiple drivers inside that podium fight pouncing right at you through the first 2 turns?
I was nervous about Braxton for sure. The way he could get into turn 3 so much deeper than me, I figured I was going to get the bumper at some point, but I think him and Thunderhorse got together a little bit and they gave me just enough of a gap to pull away and secure the win.
And that was, of all the other moments in this race, perhaps the biggest key to victory in that final run among, of course, the dominance we saw from top to bottom. Now, we're having a bit of a break, so we're not going to be racing next week. We will be back the week after, and it's going to be Texas Motor Speedway for 120 laps of racing as we head back to the American Intermediates. Texas, we don't see it all too often on these schedules, and going to be making a trip there with the Xfinity cars this time. With the win and the momentum, you think maybe an opportunity to bring back some speed to the United States?
Yeah, I sure hope so. Not necessarily a huge fan of Texas, so kind of happy to get a win out of the way before we get there. Get a 2-week break here and enjoy it and get back at it.
And we can't wait to get back at it as well here. Getting the win, Rob Ackley. It was dominance in Tochigi, winning the Twin Ring 100. If there's anyone else you'd like to thank after tonight's race, make sure to let us know.
Just give a shout out to all my teammates at Domination Intimidation Racing. We're really working well together this year, and I think it's showing on the track.
Rob Ackley, first and third for the team, and tonight you're the driver, on top of which we thank you for your time, winner in Japan.
Thank you.
Rob Ackley on the move. Matthew Thunhorse, for the 5th week in a row, has found a way to make it onto the podium. And besides Daytona, it's been almost a perfect season so far when it comes to those top 3, something nobody else has done to open a season, and it continues to extend that points gap. Seems like consistency remains, even though we go international to end our first stint of the season. 5 podiums and the points lead. Very impressive for this team, and it looks like you came into your own very late.
Yeah, David. Thanks. Yeah, it was one of those early on. I kind of struggled a little bit. And these guys, I couldn't figure out 1 and 2 until like really late. And even still, I didn't have really anything, I don't think, for Rob or Braxton there before we got that kind of final caution that caused us all to pit. And, and then when I saw us come out of there and I was like, yeah, first and second are on old tires. It's like, oh, quite a few guys on 2 tires. It's like, oh, yippee. And we went through that restart on 1 and 2, and I heard we were 4 wide. I figured we were 4 wide and came out the other side of it, thankfully, and was able to sneak into third, and just got really lucky there that I wasn't caught up in anything. Got caught good breaks that I didn't get cut off by someone being slow or just an accident coming in front of me. So, I'd say I'd earned this one. A little bit of luck there at the end, just having good fortune and not have something land in my lap. But, just another good run. And like you said, I felt like we got better. I started to figure out 1 and 2 a little bit better and was able to hang with the fast guys regardless. It's just long run. I didn't have the peak speed, but I definitely felt like I was top 5 all night.
And we saw that speed really coming more and more as the pit strategy continued to change. Now, a few cautions, more than what we saw last year, so definitely a different type of race with that strategy. How is it working that out given the fact last season, no cautions, this one, even an overtime finish, so definitely on the more chaotic side as opposed to what we saw previously?
It was, I'd say probably this was a cautions breed cautions sort of thing. It was really hard to pass, and so it's one of those you get a good run on someone, and the car wouldn't get enough momentum to really do something without trying to send it or causing some sort of nonsense. So it was really tough. You had to try to make moves when you could, and I mean, even if you did, you might not even get the momentum to do it. And so I think that played a huge role into it, and it's just like, the speed and the cautions played into it. I mean, Don and Chuck were up there fast, and then the one restart kind of got them both shuffled, and they struggled to get back into it. So it was one of those that the restarts were extremely important. You had to make use of what you had, and you had to make sure you didn't fall back. So it was definitely more of you didn't have to worry about making your tires conserve, but it's like once we got like that lap 50 caution, I was starting to feel really good, especially when like whichever the second one was that I kind of before Chuck and Don got shuffled, that I was feeling good. We were driving away from the pack, and it's like, oh no, not a caution. I was just happy to just ride top 5 here and just hang on because we were all pulling away. And then the same thing with that caution that myself and Braxton and Rob were all driving away, and then it's like 15 to go, another caution. It's like, oh, I had a podium locked. It's like, oh man. So definitely kicked up the stress levels a lot higher than last time was. But hey, at least my internet didn't fail this time, so I'll take that as a huge win.
Few ups and downs in the very end, as you mentioned, and tonight, another big up for this team as we head into our first break of the campaign, and we didn't really have the same style of racing. It's a longer season this year anyhow, but the consistency, something we've mentioned time and time again, bringing in with a points lead and, of course, an almost flawless start of the season. Of course, I think you'd like all the wins, but with almost every podium you've been on so far, that's something to keep an eye out for, of course, as we head on to a track which is an intermediate, but one that's once again less popular this time, though, in the United States. It's the Texas Motor Speedway. We'll be back there this time around as we return in 2 weeks' time. How do you feel as we head back over to Texas and the U.S.?
Well, David, I haven't felt really good about the intermediates, but I'm still finding success there. And after finding a lot of good fortune with Kentucky, I mean, Texas is just weird where it's the kind of wider, flatter banks 1 and 2 if we're running the new version. So, it's just going to be making sure, like here, just to not throttle up and just keep applying what I've been learning and practicing and try to keep this strong streak running. I mean, we went from, well, I'm looking into it to now I'm, feeling like I'm earning a bit better. So, feeling good on that front. Just got to keep the momentum up and make sure to just keep the strong qualifying runs and everything. Just keep firing on all cylinders like I have been.
And hoping to keep this momentum going into our second stretch of the season. Matthew Thunald, second on the day here in Japan. Anyone else you'd like to thank after tonight's event?
Yeah, David, just all the sponsors, of course, and just everybody who helps run it, from the admins to all the drivers. This is a hard track, and it's hard to struggle or hard to pass, but a lot of good running, a lot of good folks around the front, a lot of hard racing. So just thanks to them, and thanks to yourself and everybody behind Fireball Talks NASCAR for putting this on, and just thanks for all the fans tuning in, and hope they enjoy tonight, and we'll see them back with the Ignite series for the Octane tomorrow. So maybe I'll be lucky enough to get an interview there, but if not, hoping to have a good finish, and hope they all enjoy tonight, and see you all, I guess, in 2 weeks for the Ignite series.
And a little bit of time away, although we've seen quite a lot of you on this Monday night tour. 5 podiums in a row as we head on to our Easter break. Matthew Thunos, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thunos still on the move. One more driver to speak to. Domination Intimidation Racing, the 1-3 sandwich on the podium, and Chad Mikas continuing what's been a very successful opening stint for this number 25 crew. 3rd place on the day and a big charge up from 12th up to 3rd. Biggest mover inside the podium by a wide margin. How's it feel clawing through and making a podium in Tochigi?
Man, does it feel good, David? It feels so good. We were struggling there on the long runs. I was not as fast as I should have been going into this race. There was a lot of quick guys. We just kept falling off. I was probably going to be outside the top 20 if we didn't get those last few yellows there. So it was pretty nice to make a strategy call and it pay off for a change. I was going to settle for 5th, but everybody started beating and banging there off of turn 2 or turn 1, I should say, going into 1, and just sent it.
We saw that final run, the overtime finish, which helped out in getting you up to the top 3, but by no means was it an easy night to claw up inside, even the top 10 and beyond. It was a slow but sure process to make it through, which it's a challenging track to make passes at, so we gotta wonder, of all the guys in the top 3, you did it more than anyone else, so what was it like having to make it up there?
Man, I wish I could say I was better than people in making passes. It really just came down to playing strategy right. I mean, to really pass anyone, you really had to set them up going into 1 and 2, you need to get a better run and kind of shoot down the track as to where everyone else is washing up towards the wall in 2, and just pray that you had a better run down the straightaway so you could just outbrake him into 3. I didn't have my brake bias set as low as everybody else, so I was kind of just burning the right front up, but taking 2 on that last stop there definitely got me a little looser than we were the entire race. We ran a pretty tight setup on the long run, so it was nice to break it loose a little bit and kind of have a chance there.
With all being said and done, the number 25 team ending with a second podium in this stretch. We saw, of course, starting good at Daytona, ending good here in Japan. Texas up next for its second stretch of the campaign, and we got our eyes looking at what is ahead for this Ignite Series crew. Of course, up there, top 5 of the point standings coming out of the night, and big gains so far relative to last year. This team's looking better than ever before. What's it going to take to keep that going in the Lone Star State?
Well, just got to be as consistent as we can. I got to qualify a lot better. That's one thing that's really been killing me this season is I just cannot figure out qualifying. I'm always multiple tenths off of where I am in practice, so I got to really button down and put together some better Q runs. But it's just a matter of keeping the car clean, just staying out of trouble, relying on my teammates for help and information. It sucks not having Michael out on the track. He's really helped me a lot in the last 3 years or so, 4 years that I've been racing with him. But it's fun being able to learn from Rob and Nick and some strategy from Boomer. We all work very well together. We're really good at communicating. So I feel like as long as we keep doing that and just coaching each other, we're going to have a hell of a season here. So it's fun starting the season off great. I just want to finish it great too. I know we can be in the top 5 in points here at the end of the year, but we just got to buckle down and stay consistent.
And consistency is key for this number 25 team. Chad Mikas, podium to end it off tonight. If you have any final shout-outs you'd like to give out, make sure to let us know here.
Obviously, big congrats to Rob there. I was screaming for him going down the straightaway as we cleared everybody off of turn 2 on the last lap. All of my buddies at DRIR Enterprises, we had a really strong race tonight. My friends at Firelight Esports, my teammates, IMB Racewear, Brett's Coffee Co., Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Sim Cams, Do the Move podcast, and obviously Big Evil Designs. So, and obviously thank you, David and FTN, for the awesome broadcast you guys put together. It's fun going back and watching these, so appreciate all the work you do.
But thank you, Chad, for stopping by. Podium finish on the day for the 25 team, and a great way to head into our Easter break. The number 25 crew with the podium. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chad Mikas on the way. That concludes our podium ceremony for tonight's event. Mikas going to come home third, Matthew Thunor second, and Rob Ackley, the winning man, the dominant man, who comes home with the win tonight. What a way to win it was for Rob Ackley and the entire 25 crew. And we thank you all for watching from start to finish here. Twin Ring Motegi, always exciting, and we will return hopefully overseas in 2025. This is our one and only trip to the Japanese circuit for the year that we know of so far, so we'll stay tuned and maybe return here once again. After all, you've been watching the Integrity Ignite series, and we'll return in 2 Mondays' time with another presentation at the Texas Motor Speedway. Twin Ring Motegi, the host of the Twin Ring 100, our virtual venue for tonight's event, provided exclusively by iRacing Motorsport Simulations, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage from FTN. I've been David Kreutz, commentator and producer for tonight's event, and I'll be back tomorrow night with the Integrity Octane Series at the Chicagoland Speedway. We hope to see you there as well as we continue the Octane Series and move on to our final race before Easter break. All the same, thank you all for watching tonight, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. We hope to see you tomorrow night, and we hope you have a great night. Thank you for watching live on FTN. We hope to see you tomorrow with the Octane Series.